audible again, right? Shall we start?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. We'll start then. Right. So you can see my screen as well. So we'll start the lecture. So we start the part 2 of the lecture, which talks about warranties, guarantees, and bonds. Right? Warranties, guarantees, and bonds. We'll start recording again.
Recording in progress.
So, first, bonds and guarantees. Concern on contractor going into liquidation before completing the contract. Sometimes there may be a situation where contractor may going into liquidation, so bond or guarantee is a mechanism to safeguard. It may be kind of, this retention is also a kind of that, may not be sufficient, but it's kind of a retention. Bonds and guarantees, additional protection against non-performance. Say, for example, there is a bond, performance bond, which is additional protection against non-performance of the contract. Why do we say additional protection? If contractor is not performing, we will not pay the works as well. Plus, this is again, if contractor is not performing, we don't pay. That is one, whatever remedial action. The other one is we can forfeit the performance bond if non-performance of the contractor is proved. Non-performance means he should perform according to the contract. If he is going beyond whatever performing, not performing according to the details in the contract, so performance bond can be forfeited. Then, tender contract documents provide details of bonds and guarantees required. So our contract document, conditions of contract, other documents in the contract document or tender document gives you the details of bonds and guarantees required. How do we define the bond? An undertaking by one party. Okay, what is this one party? Surety or guarantor addressed to another party, beneficiary or the owner, to do or refrain from doing certain things. Contractor is known as the principal in this. So bond is given by a surety or guarantor addressed to another party. The other party is owner or the beneficiary. So that party will give you a surety. Surety will give you a whatever money or financial this thing that if contract is not performing, client can forfeit that bond. If contractor is giving the bid bond, if contractor is not accepting the bid, or when client sends the letter of acceptance, contractor is not accepting it, then bid bond can be whatever forfeited. You can understand. So surety or guarantee is giving a financial guarantee to another party, that the another party or the other party is beneficiary or the owner. Right? In this situation, contractor is known as the principal. In construction, surety is generally a bank or insurer. But most of the time in government projects, we say a bank promising to take payments to the employer in the event of contractor defaulting on his obligations under contract. So if a contractor is going to default his obligations, then owner can forfeit that bond. For example, not performing according to the details of the contract. Not accepting the bid after bid evaluation, we select a bidder and we send the acceptance letter. Bidder is not accepting. Then beneficiary or the owner can forfeit that bond. Then next important point is care should be taken when drafting bonds. As under the common law, any variation to the contractor's obligations which are guaranteed under the bond will discharge the bond unless the surety has agreed to a variation. Okay. Remember, you have to be careful when you are writing the details or the bond, details of the bond. It should clearly match with the contract details. That's why, have you seen, we send the specimen or the standard form of the bond with the contract bid document or the tender document. So we always ask contractor to use those standard forms. Why? To make sure it is clearly indicate the things given in the contract. Therefore, when you prepare the bond, always refer the standard specimen. There are 4 types of bonds available in construction contracts: tender bonds or bid bonds, advance payment bonds, performance bonds, retention bonds. What do you mean by tender bonds or bid bond? I was asking the same question. Provide the security if the tenderer withdraws his tender with the tender period or refuses to accept the contract once awarded. Sometimes bidder may withdraw his tender within the tender period. That is also one situation where we can forfeit the bid bond, or when we send the letter of acceptance, bidder refused to accept the contract once awarded. So that is tender bond or bid bond. Then next bond type is advance payment bond. If the employer makes a substantial payment to the contractor in advance, we all know generally we pay advance at the beginning of the contract. Generally it is 20% of the contract. How do we deduct the advance payment? We deduct 22 point something from each bill to reach the 20%. General understanding is 20% advance is paid at the beginning. But it is huge money. Before we carry out any work, before contractor carry out any work, contractor is paid 20% of the contract sum. So to avoid or to mitigate the risk of the client paying advance, contractor is expected to provide a bond equal to the amount he has received. So he should give a bond, advance payment bond, to receive the advance as a what? Guarantee. Sometimes no work has been performed, but advance is given. Right? When contractor is mobilized in the site, when he is giving the performance bond and all, we give the advance. But contractor should provide advance payment bond. Okay? Contractor is bond equal to the amount of the advance. If contractor wants to reduce the bond, we may be able to do it at the time of we recovered advance progressively in interim advance certificates. There are situations where contractors get reduced the advance payment bond or come up with a different bond after halfway through the construction project. Now you will get a question, why he is providing a bond? He is getting money and providing a bond. Is there an advantage to the contractor? Bond is a letter given by the bank. Right? So what is the opportunity cost of the payment bond? or say advance payment. Contractor is getting money, but he is giving a letter from the bank, a bond. What he is going to lose, say he is getting 120 million as the advance payment bond from a bank. Is he getting 120 million from the bank, or what he is getting? A letter. Instead of this letter, or because of this letter, what bank is going to do to the contractor? Do you have any idea? What is his opportunity cost of this payment bond of 100 to 120 million? Any answer? Anybody who knows? He is
Bond
getting
commission.
a letter. Yes, sorry?
Bond commission. For the bond, we have to pay, no?
No, he is going to lose his opportunity of getting an overdraft of that month. Most of the time, bidders are, or the good, when they have good whatever relationship with the bank, he is going to lose the chance of getting an overdraft. If he is having overdraft facility for 250 million, he is going to lose the bond value from his overdraft facility. As well as there is a commission, but generally main thing what he is going to lose is that overdraft facility of 120 million. Why? Already they have given them a letter, right? He should have a good relationship with the bank to get that bank bond, right? Then the other type of bond is performance bond. Allow the employer to recover the monies which are owed to him by the contractor in the event of contractor in breach of his obligations under the contract. Okay, so most of the time there is a performance guarantee or performance bond which is kept. Why? Contractor should perform according to the contract. If he's not performing a non-performance of contractor according to the contract, client can forfeit the performance bond. But there are so many requirements to be fulfilled according to the contract. After that, performance bond can be forfeited. Usually for a fixed amount expressed in the percentage, as a percentage of the contract amount. Performance bond percentage is given in the contract. Bid bond percentage is also given in the contract, generally. Sometimes there are situations where we enhance the performance bond value. Could you please tell me a time where we enhance the normal performance bond value, and sometimes we may enhance, or we ask for a higher amount? Can you tell me a situation like that? Any situation like that we enhance the performance bond value?
Madam, some works to be added, or when the time extension of time is given more than the contract duration.
We may ask to extend the performance bond, you mean?
Yeah.
Madam, if the contractor's financial ability in the particular, or experience in the particular field is not adequate.
Yeah. Yes. In private sector, we can do so when his experience and all. In addition to that, when we see he has whatever front loaded, sometimes we may enhance the performance bond. Do you know what is front loading?
Madam, the rates are unduly high and low when sometimes.
Yeah. Low and high means front loading actually. Most of the time whatever front loading means actual work during the first 6 months is actual cost of the work is 100 million, but he has put it as 150, right? With higher rates. Latter part work is another 100 million, but he is pricing it as 50 million. Likewise, he is loaded the items or loaded the first items which will be performed. So you can see that there is a high risk. Why? He is getting 150 million for a 100 million worth of work. So we will put a higher performance bond. As we mentioned, if the contractor's whatever performance or the financial status is unsuitable, in private sector, we can have a high performance bond, right? Performance bond duration can be extended when the contract duration goes beyond the required time. Okay? Unless otherwise, generally percentage is given in the contract document for the performance bond. Then there is another type of bonds, retention bonds, used in the event of early release of retention, right? If contractor wants to whatever release the retention early, then he can give a retention bond and release. What do you mean by retention actually? From each bill, we deduct 10% till we reach to 5% of the contract sum. That is how we deduct the retention according to the normal contracts. What are we doing? From each bill, we deduct 10% till it reaches to the 5% of the contract sum. Right? At the end of the practical construction completion, what do we do? Practical completion, we release half of the retention. Half of retention is kept till end of defects liability period or the maintenance period. If contractor wants to release that, or want to release the retention early, then he needs to give a bond bank guarantee, giving whatever the required amount and time period, and then we will be able to release the retention early with that bond. No other situation where we can release retention. First half at the end of practical completion, the other half at the end of defects liability period. Guarantee the contractors making good defects where retention has been released early. So we have to whatever retention is released early, but it's a guarantee that he will do the whatever making defects, rectifying defects. Right? So these are the common types of bonds, right? What are those ones? Tender bonds, advance payment bonds, performance bond, then retention bonds, right? Anything you would like to ask? Any question, anything? Right. Then there are important features of bonds. What are those important features? Two important features. Open-ended or having an end date. Sometimes there are some bonds, no date. But generally, most of the construction bonds having an end date. Okay? As per specified by the conditions of contract. Then, conditional or on demand. Remember, on demand. Unconditional. That should be very important. So when it comes to any bonds and guarantee issued in the construction should be on demand, unconditional. What do you mean by on demand, unconditional? Anybody in the group can answer me? On demand, unconditional. What do you mean by that? On demand, unconditional. What do you mean by that? Right. Any answer? Anybody who is willing to answer on demand, unconditional bonds guarantees? Right. Just saying that I want the bond. On demand, no conditions, on demand. When we demand, when we ask, it should be available. Right? So that's why for construction work, we go for bank guarantees. The other option is insurance, but government organizations do not prefer insurance bonds. Why insurance? What is the difference between an insurance bond and a bank bond? Anybody in the group, can you tell me? Insurance bond and a bank bond. Or bank guarantee or insurance guarantee.
Insurance bond is the conditional bond.
Conditional. Why we all know that when we ask for something from insurance, they will come and see the scene and ask for evidence. So many conditions. So that is not on demand, unconditional. Bank guarantees are on demand, unconditional. So what do you mean by on demand bonds? Payment on demand, no proof of default required. No proof is required. Just ask for it. Difficulties as an on-demand bond must be paid even though there is only a trivial breach of contract, very simple breach of contract even, right? So what do you mean by a trivial? Our program is not a part of the contract most of the time, even though there is a program delay. If client feels that he is not performing, then he can claim for the bond. Then it is on demand. Very simple breach or not a breach at all even. Sometimes he can get a on-demand bond. That's why it's very important. The only time that payment will not be made on such bond is where there has been fraud on the face of the document. So only one time is available for that. What is that time? Altering documents. Condition is altered after getting the bond. Then we cannot do anything. The document which is given to the bank at the beginning, at the time of giving the bond, and now different. There are changes. So it is fraud on face of the document. Then on demand bond will not be released. Can you understand on demand? Payment on demand, no proof, no default required. Right? Very trivial, small default even, okay, will be considered. Sometimes not a big issue, even slight delay in the program can help or can allow client to ask for the on-demand bond. Then, but there is only one time payment will not be paid. What is that? Where there has been fraud on the top face of the document. Example, altering document. Condition is altered. Okay. So when it comes to construction works, we normally do not allow insurance bonds to be taken. Why? They are not unconditional, not on demand. We have to provide so many evidences, documents. It's a rigorous process, insurance. So we don't accept bid bond, performance bond, guarantee, whatever, retention bond, everything with insurance companies, right? Mohammed, do you have anything to ask?
Yes, ma'am. From the contractor side, the insurance bond is more beneficial, right?
What do you mean by insurance bond?
Sorry, insurance bond mean the bond from the insurance companies?
No, bonds are not taken from insurance companies. Generally, you mean they will ask, but the condition and whatever contract documents all says this bond should be on demand, unconditional. That's whatever main and whatever primary requirement in the conditions of contract. Then it is not matching to the conditions of contract. From contractor side also, you will be in trouble when there is on demand, that means demanded and conditional bond. When there is a breach of contract even, you will not be able to give it to the client. Why? There will be so many questions, documents, a long process.
Madam, what about the ICTAT guarantee fund? Are there any issues with that?
ICTAT now it's not performing, no? Earlier, there was a ICTAT guarantee fund, but I think nearly 5 years ago, there was a whatever company which was giving a bond from that. But due to some problems, we did not accept it in Moratuwa University.
Yes, that is the case, madam. We also don't agree.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Now it's not perform. I mean, I had to search some details on that. Earlier, it was performing well, and now it's just like whatever abandoned one. That is what we got to know. Huh?
Okay, thank you, madam.
Earlier, it was performing very well. Huh? But nearly 5 years ago, we come across with a situation in the Moratuwa University, and we got to know about that.
Okay, thank you, madam.
Welcome. So that's why when you are working in an office, you should involve in these things. So I was in the construction industry for 7 years before I joined the university, then started my academic career. But after joining university, even I'm in touch with most of the construction works, right? Some are honorary work at the university, and some are some paid works related to project consultancy. Why? To keep my knowledge in par with the current context. So when you are working in your organization, you may not be able to do construction work, or you may not have construction experience, but you can be a member of tender evaluation TC committee. Those experiences are very important, right? Then, now you know, on demand, unconditional, there is a small breach of contract. Trivial even you can claim, but only one place, fraud documents. Fraud on the face of document. It will not allow you to claim. Right? Then guarantees. Guarantees are the same as bonds, but we just use the different name. Broadly similar to performance bonds, and will require all the same safeguards as regards, okay, and contractual. So as we mentioned, bank guarantees, bank bonds, almost the same. Sometimes there are situations where parent current company is giving a guarantee. What is this? When this contracting firm is part of a larger group, it is often the practice to seek a guarantee from parent company that in the relevant event of any financial difficulties being suffered by the subsidiary, the parent company will ensure the obligations of the subsidiary will be met. Say, for example, if it is a group of companies, if we are occupying the subsidiary, sometimes they may come up with a guarantee from the main company. As you mentioned, when we do the tender evaluation, subsidiary may not be that much, whatever experience and financially stable. But if that subsidiary is going to bring a guarantee from that company's parent company, which is a very well established, financially strong company, then we may accept the subsidiary even. That's an advantage of having a subsidiary. Ensure compliance with applicable legal requirement, but make sure that this legal provision is there in our contracts. Some contracts, we don't have this provision, right? Parent company guarantees considered in certain instances, some instances it's not considered. But some of the situations I have come across with in government institution even, parent company guarantees accepted for certain works, right? It's not to select the main contractor, but as supplier when we are selecting people, not for the construction, but for supply contracts, we accepted the parent company guarantee. Okay. Anything you would like to ask regarding these guarantees, parent company guarantee and bonds? Right? Then we have another important thing that we must know, collateral warranties. What do you mean by collateral warranties? Provide protection usually for the client in the event that third parties involved in the contract fail to perform their contractual obligation. Client may not have direct whatever contract with that party, but the third party involved in the contract failed to perform their contractual obligations, collateral warranty will be useful. A collateral warranty is an agreement which exists alongside another contract and is related to that other contract. Okay? So it is a method of joining together a party who in other circumstances would not have a contractual relationship, but who are nevertheless involved in the same undertaking. I will tell you a very good example. Contractor and subcontractor is having a contractual relationship. As we all know, contractor and subcontractor is having a contractual relationship, as well as contractors is having a contractual relationship with AC or waterproofing manufacturer or supplier, right? Sometimes subcontractor may have that whatever contractual relationship with the air conditioning or waterproofing manufacturer or supplier. But there is no contract between client and the air conditioning supplier or waterproofing supplier or manufacturer. But the contract between this contractor or subcontractor can be extended to the client by a collateral warranty. Can you understand? So there is an air conditioner. The contract is between main contractor or subcontractor and the AC supplier. There is no direct contract between the client and the AC supplier or AC manufacturer or whatever. But when we have a collateral warranty, you can create whatever relationship, contractual relationship with client and AC supplier. So that is a collateral warranty. Directly collateral, whatever the contractual relationship is with the AC supplier and the subcontractor, or AC supplier and the main contractor. But with the use of collateral warranty, we can create the contractual relationship with client and AC supplier. Why this is important? We all know that most of the time contractors will finish the work and go, but this relationship or the contractual relationship with the supplier and the client is very important. After 5 years, if there is a problem, say you have a AHU, air handling unit, a big whatever equipment. So there will be a contract with contractor and AHU supplier, but with the collateral warranty, we extend it to client. Why? Client will be dealing with the throughout the life cycle of the AHU with the AHU, and client will be there together throughout the life cycle of AHU. Then that collateral warranty is very important with the supplier and the client. Can you understand what it is? Any question you would like to ask? I think after explaining the whatever the example, you can easily understand it. Anything you would like to ask about this? Any question? Right. Collateral warranties extend the contractual relationship to a third party, right? With the use of collateral warranties, right? So are you okay with these guarantees, bonds and warranties? Those are the important things what we covered now, right? Anything you would like to ask about these things before I move to insurances? Any question, anything? Any question, anything you would like to ask?
Madam,
Yes.
instead of taking a bank guarantee, can we consider the cash deposit as a bond?
I have never come across with a situation like that. Why contractor cannot do the cash deposit and get a bank guarantee? What do you think?
Yes, but in sometimes for the big bonds, they deposit the money and bring that slip for the along with the big bonds.
Yeah, but what if you say, for example, if you go and deposit that money in a bank, giving a guarantee would be very easy for a bank, no? Can't you understand? If you
Yes.
have money, you deposit in the bank, then you can get the normal format which is required by us. They can do it in, as you mentioned, they need not to bring the deposit slip. Huh? What they have to bring is the bond letter from the bank.
Okay.
Can you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
There are two ways of getting that bond. One is some people do not deposit money, but they have a good relationship with the bank. There is an overdraft limit for that person in the bank. From that, they can bring the bond. That is okay if bank is accepting. The other method is if you are a new contractor, as you mentioned, what they do is they deposit money and get the bank guarantee. That is also possible. But we don't take the whatever deposit, right? We take the bond. Huh?
Okay, ma'am. Thank
Why,
you.
as a party, we don't have any right to go and take money from other person's account? Huh?
No, I didn't mean that account. Into the organization shop counter deposit money.
We normally do not accept those things. We get what we always say is bond from a bank. That is what we say. Huh?
Okay, madam. Thank you.
And the other thing is depositing money. If you don't have a good relationship with the bank, okay. Unless otherwise, depositing money will block their financial whatever capabilities. No, but getting a whatever this thing from a bank will enable them to spend some money as well. No?
Okay, madam.
Money is permit some cases it's permitted at the bid bond.
Sorry.
In the case of bid bond, depositing money is permitted, madam.
Are there instances? I have never come across with that situation. Government institutions even?
Yes, madam.
Instead of that means to the that if it is for university, you should deposit it to the University of Moratuwa.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Only for the bid bonds.
Only for the big bonds, not for the performance bond.
For the performance bond.
Yeah, but that situation is that if the requirements are fulfilled, no, on demand, unconditional. That is their rights with the client. Yeah, right. Thank you for telling it. I have never come across with a situation like that. Okay. Anything else you would like to mention or ask?
Madam, that back-to-back warranty is one of the collateral warranties.
What do you mean by back-to-back warranty? Could you please explain me what it is you mean by?
That means the main contractor is getting from subcontractors the warranty like waterproofing warranties like that way.
It is extended to the client, you mean?
Yes.
It is same thing here. That is collateral warranty example. They just name it as back-to-back warranty. This is back-to-back anyhow. Why? As I mentioned, waterproofing, the warranties they are for the subcontractor, then they whatever extend it to the client through a collateral warranty. The principle is that party is not in the contract, but link that third party through a collateral warranty. Yes, that's that.
Okay,
Anything
madam. Thank
else? Anything else? you would like to ask? Right, there are no questions. Then we move to the part 3 of our lecture. Right? So this is part 3 of the lecture. Right? Insurance. Right? So what is the purpose of insurance? Insurance is a mechanism contracting parties use to transfer specific risks arising as a result of the contract to a third party. So as we all know, most riskiest industry in the world is considered as one of the most riskiest industries, the construction, due to its unique nature, right? So therefore, there are so many risks. Risks are coming under technical risks. Then you have economical risk, financial, environmental risk. There are so many construction risks, different types of risk are there. So what we do is, it's a mechanism of transferring risk to a third party. So transferring risk to third party, there are methods as well. Sometimes we may transfer the risk to a supplier or the subcontractor, but this is also kind of transferring risk to a third party. Okay? What do you mean by transferring risk? You can see when I see my cover slide also, the way we handle risk in the construction, there are mainly 4 risk handling methods: risk avoidance, risk reduction, risk transfer, risk retention. Right? So, I will tell you examples. First example, risk avoidance. There is a project. Nowadays, you are not sure about material or any price. You don't bid. That is risk avoiding risk. Right? There are some instances where these days, so you bid for a very high price. That is risk reduction. By giving a high price or very high bid, you try to reduce the risk. Sometimes what you do is you bid it to a required level and try to take the risk. Retain the risk, retention. Third option is you may get a project and you may get insurance. That is transferring the risk. Or you may get a supplier and sign a contract with him, third party, risk transfer. Okay? So in the construction, there are 4 methods of handling risk. Avoidance, avoid the risk, not bidding. Or reduction means you bid it for a very high price, try to reduce it. Then you try to bid for the required amount and try to take some actions and try to retain the risk. Next method is transferring risk. You bid for the project, but get some additional or insurances and transfer the risk to the insurance company. Or you get some suppliers or subcontractors and sign contracts with them and transfer the risk. So when we take the risk handling methods, risk transferring is one of the common methods, out of which transferring most common method is insurance. Okay? So insurance is taking the risk and transferring it to a third party. Right? For a financial, whatever, or for a premium. Actually, we pay money and transfer. Right? Then, what are the basic principles of general insurance? Insurance contract, both the parties should have faith over each other. Principle of utmost good faith. So both the parties should be trustworthy to each other. Number 1, if you are taking an health insurance. Before 10 years time, if you were treating for whatever disease, say you were treating for high blood pressure after doing exercises and treatments, now it's not there. At the time of taking the life insurance, you do not disclose it. Then no utmost good faith, right? Now you are not suffering with high blood pressure, but before 5 years time, you had treatments, you did exercises, and anyhow, you are not taking medicine, but you got high blood pressure 5 years ago. That question is asked in the form which you fill, but you do not disclose. Why? Insurance company cannot get to know it even. Then no utmost good faith. No faith over each other. So you have to have disclose all the things and you have to have faith over each other. Then principle of insurable interest. As the party, you should have your interest to whatever insure. And you should have the ownership. Say, your neighbor cannot insure your house. You by your own should insure, right? So you should have the interest as well as you should have the ownership of that, right? Nobody else can do it. Why? They don't have the interest, they don't have the ownership, right? Then, principle of indemnity. Security or compensation against loss or damage. You cannot claim the amount beyond its value or beyond, may not be compensated by insurance company in an amount exceeding the insured's economic loss. Say if your loss is 5 million, you should get 5 million. You cannot get 10 million for the same loss. Okay? There may be 2 companies insured, but total should be 5 million. You cannot get the amount exceeding the insured's economic loss. Principle of subrogation. What do you mean by that? Subrogation enables the insured to claim the amount from the third party responsible for that. Say, for example, in a car accident, if other party is guilty, our insurance company may pay us, but my insurance company can claim the amount from that third party insurance company. Why? Third party is guilty and my insurance company has paid me money. My insurance company can claim it from the other party who is guilty. They are insurer, right? That is subrogation. Okay. So they may pay money to me. I am the first party and there is a third party who is involved in the accident, and finally whatever decides that third party is guilty for the accident. Then insurer may pay me money, my insurer, but third party's insurer will pay that money to my insurer. There is a possibility of doing so. Then double insurance. Insurance of same subject matter with 2 different companies can be done with same under 2 insurance, but cannot recover more than the actual loss. Cannot claim the whole amount from both the insurers. Remember that. You can insure your property by 2 insurance companies under 2 whatever different policies, but actual loss cannot be, can be claimed, but you cannot claim whole amount from both the insurers. But this principle may not be applicable for a life insurance. Why? We cannot value your life. So in life insurances, sometimes this can happen. But other than life insurances, anything cannot be claimed the whole amount from both or more insurers. Remember that. Double insurance is not allowed. Then, principle of proximate cause. The nearest cause or the direct cause should be considered for the insurers. This principle is applicable when the loss is result of two or more causes. I will tell you an example. A worker fallen from a scaffolding and died. So, that may be claimed from workman compensation. But finally identified, the direct cause is a heart attack, not a fault of scaffolding, or it's not because of he's working in the site. Therefore, that may be directly goes the proximate or the nearest cause is a heart attack. Right? Remember that we always consider the nearest or the direct cause for insurance. Then, contribution, the other principle. The right of an insurer to call upon other similarly but not necessarily equally liable to the same insured to share the cost of an indemnity payment. When the claim payment is shared amongst insurers, say one property is insured by two insurers or three insurers, they can decide their policy insured amount and share that amount. But you cannot go beyond the financial value of loss or damage. If there are three insurers, they can share, but not going beyond the actual value. If there are more than one insurer for a car, damage due to an accident need to be divided among insurers. Right? Divided among. You cannot claim the whole amount from two or three insurers. Right? If the policy holder holds more than one policy of insurance, he still cannot recover more than full indemnity. But for life insurances, this principle is not applicable. Why? We cannot give an exact value for your life. So what are the principles, general principles of insurances? Utmost good faith. Both the parties should be faithful to each other. Insurable interest. You should have ownership and interest to get insured. Indemnity. You can insure your property from two places or three places, but you cannot get an amount exceeding the insured economic loss. Principle of subrogation. Okay. If there is a third party who is responsible, your insurer can claim money from that third party's insurer if third party is guilty. Double insurance, you can have more than one insurance, but you cannot go beyond, you cannot claim the whole amount from all the insurers. This is not applicable for life insurance. Proximate cause, always insurance consider the nearest direct cause. Example, a worker fallen from a scaffolding died. Direct cause or the proximate cause is heart attack. Contribution, if there are more than one insurer, damage or loss should be divided among insurers. Anything you would like to ask about these basic principles of general insurance? Any question, anything? You must remember all these things. Very recently, we some instances we get calls from insurance companies. The girls working in insurance companies say, sir, madam, you can take 2 insurances for your car and cover more than your damage. Then you must tell them, if you are working in an insurance company, you must know the general insurance principles, basic principles. These are the basic principles. Before you take any insurance, you should know the basic insurance principles. Very important for this, whatever masters as well as for your day-to-day life. Anything you would like to ask? When we talk about insurance contract, one party makes an offer or proposal for a contract. The other party accepts. Insured pay a premium to the insurer. Insurer agrees to give the insured some benefit, usually a financial compensation. That is how this insurance contract is formed. Offer and acceptance. A premium is paid by insured to the insurer. Insurer agrees to give a insured some benefit, usually financial compensation. Contractor, client may be the insured, right? Insurer is the insurance company. When we talk about the construction insurances, construction industry is subject to more risk and uncertainty than many industries. It's one of the most riskiest industries in the world. Therefore, insurance is vital as a risk management tool in construction. It's very important. It's compulsory. Construction insurances provide protection during the construction projects. During the construction in projects. Common construction and liability insurances. Contractors all risk. Car policy, including third party. Workman compensation. Professional indemnity or professional liability for professionals. Motor insurances. Decennial liability. Decennial liability. Okay? And marine cargo insurance. Decennial liability. What do you mean by decennial liability? So have you heard very recently, it's few years ago, in Vellavata, there was a building which collapsed due to a structural fault. So somebody may think that structural work liability is only up to the defects liability period. No, it goes beyond the defects liability period. So it is a decennial liability. It goes up to the end of the life of the building. Okay, there is a period which is specified. That period, there should be a liability. Okay, so it's not only up to the end of the defects liability period. We will talk about different construction insurances. Up to now, anything you would like to ask? Right. According to the clause 18 of FIDIC Reg Book, general requirements for insurances. Insuring party, the party responsible for effecting and maintaining the insurance. That is contractor. Okay. Cross liability coverage. If a policy required to indemnify joint insurer, the cover applies separately to each insurer. Okay, so it is cross liability, indemnify joint parties. client and contractor. Submit evidence of insurance to the other party. You should give it to the other party. When insuring party fail to effect and maintain insurance, other party may effect insurance and pay premium, right? If contractor fails, clients must directly pay and maintain. Insuring party shall pay it and contract price shall adjust accordingly. Okay? So that should anyhow, insurance should be maintained. That's a must. Amount not insured or not covered, borne by the contractor sometimes, borne by the client sometimes. Payments from insurers to be used exclusively for the rectification of loss or damage. Don't get the insurance claim and proceed with the other works in the site. That is the principle according to clause 18. Then, insurance for works and contractors' equipment. How it is covered? Works and contractors' equipment. Contractors' all risk policy generally include third-party liability as well. Insuring parties contractor in the joint names of parties, contractor and employer. So we always take the contractor and employer. Cover. What are the covered things? Works, plant, material, and contractors' document on full replacement cost. So if something happened, you should be able to fully replace. Existing ones should be demolished, then that demolition cost should be there. Not only demolition, removal of debris cost should be covered. Plus, any professional fees and profits should be covered. If there is a contractor's work, defective work is there, okay, or damage work, right? Then that should be fully demolished with the cost of insurance, removal of debris plus fully replaced. Plus any design or professional fees or profit is lost, that should be claimed. So that is how it is covering. Period of cover, provide cover until the date of issue of performance certificate. You have to check when you are taking insurance whether there are any exclusions in the policy. Be careful about that. Then insurance against injury to persons and damages to property, generally including contractors' all risk policy. Third party cover for property loss or damage, death or bodily injury. Insuring party, contractor, the joint names, contractor and employer. Appendix to tender specifies the extent of cover needed. And there are some instances, deductibles. Anybody who knows what are deductibles in insurances? Anybody can tell me, deductibles. Anybody in the group, do you know what are deductibles? Deductibles? Say, for example, we have insured our work up to, say, 25 million. According to the insurance policy, contractor can claim for a very small defect even, damage or loss even, very small one. Then these claims will never end. Why all the claims will want for a very small thing, even contractor will claim. What contracting companies do is, they have a deductible amount. From each claim, we will deduct 200 or 50,000. That is their deductible. Why they specify a deductible? Till we reach to 50,000, no, anyone whatever claim will not be forwarded by the contractor. Why? If your claim is 50,000, if deductible is 50,000, from 50,000 claim minus 50,000, contractor will get zero. No point of giving a claim or forwarding a claim. So therefore, to limit the claims to a certain limit, they have deductibles. If deductible is 50,000, contractor may not raise a claim up to 50,000. Why? From each and every claim, they deduct 50,000. That's a deductible. Right? That is a strategy to minimize number of whatever claims or small things. Right? Again, shall extended to cover loss and damage to employer's property as well. We can extend it to cover the loss and damage to employer's property as well. Again, when you look at this policy, be careful about exclusions. Read the whatever policy clearly. Then, contractors all risk. Scope of cover. There are two sections. Section 1, material damage. 2, contract work. Permanent temporary work forming part of the contract. Say scaffolding, then whatever earthwork support or slabs or whatever other brick walls or whatever permanent work. Plus temporary work. Remember, scaffolding or sometimes form work or sometimes it may be earthwork support or shoring. Contract work is covered. Removal of debris of them. Any professional fees, additional fees regarding this. Free issue materials, client issued materials covered. Construction equipments are covered. Site office, storage sets, silos, scaffolding, utilities, everything covered. Construction machinery is also covered. Earth moving plants, tower cranes, site vehicles, etc. Principals, existing property. Employers, other buildings in the sites are also covered. So you can see the coverage here. Then section 2, third party liability. Bodily injury, property damage. General exclusions are there. Political risk, war, warlike operations, strikes, riots, civil commotion, all excluded. Nuclear and other similar things excluded. Willful act or willful negligence of the insured on their representatives, not covered. Cessation of work, whether total or partial. Part or fully project is stopped, then it's not covered. Right? Then contractors all risk, special exclusions. You must know all these things. Consequential losses of any kind. Not the direct loss, but related losses. Say, for example, loss of profit you cannot claim. Faulty design cannot be claimed. Defective material cannot be claimed. Defective workmanship cannot be claimed. Mechanical or electrical breakdown cannot be claimed. Wear and tear, corrosion, gradual deterioration cannot be claimed. Road vehicles, waterborne vessels and aircrafts are not claimed. Inventory losses not covered. Special exclusions to second section, property insured or insurable under section 1 are not covered. Vibration, removal, weakening of support not covered. Liability for bodily injury to employers, employee, workman covered under workman compensation, not here. Liability for damage to property belongings to insured party, private cars of contractors, engineers not covered here. Motor, marine, aviation liability not covered. Contractual liability not covered under contractors all risk. Right? Then workman compensation is the next insurance policy which we must talk about. Workman compensation, insuring party contractor cover against same as previous contractor or contractor's personal claims, damage, losses and expenses including legal fees due to injury, sickness, disease or death. Employer and the employer's engineer also indemnified. You can see employer and engineer exclude arise from any act of negligence of employer's personnel will not be covered. Unless otherwise, this is cover the employer and engineer both. Maintain during the whole time these personnel assisting the execution of the work. Subcontractors, employers may affected by subcontractor. Okay, may. Right? So that is what you should know about workman compensation insurance. Right? Then there is a very important insurance policy, professional indemnity insurance. Professional indemnity insurance, also called as professional liability insurance. As a QS, if I'm practicing as a QS, I need to take this PI cover. Right? Insures against liability arising from professional negligence. Okay? Includes contractual liability, that is equivalent to the professional negligence, such as a breach of contractual obligation to exercise reasonable skill, care and diligence when carry out the design or other professional. If I am doing something with negligence, if there is a loss, that should be covered. Protects professional from financial claims and often reputation damage claims by dissatisfied clients. Why we take this financial? When there is a default in the slab, there will be a claim from the client. So we will safeguard by getting a professional indemnity insurance. Again, sometimes there are professional reputation damaging claims are also there. For them also, we are indemnified by PI cover. Okay. Generally, there are 3 types mainly you are going to remember. Car policy. Okay. Car policy. Okay. Right. Including third party. Then workman compensation. Then we have professional indemnity. So these are the insurances. I have taken FIDIC conditions. This is very similar to SBD, but there may be slight differences in SBD. Main thing is you must know this. What is this? These general insurance principles. Then we will talk about insurance related to FIDIC as well. Right? So this is the end of the lecture. Now it's the time for discussions. Anything you would like to ask? Any question, anything?
Madam, this is referred to the bonds. This post-dated check can consider the advance bond.
What do you mean by that?
Post-dated check.
General in a government organization, again, we don't consider them. Private institutions may consider it.
Then there's this this
Say for example,
margin.
there is a check return. Then what are we going to do? We can take the whatever the person to courts and take actions. It will take more than 2-3 years. Huh? Say he has given a post-dated check, right?
Okay. Oh.
Then check when we put the whatever when we want to whatever take the bond or whatever forfeit the bond, we will put it to the bank and try to get money. But check return, no money is not available. Then it's a fraud. Yes, it is an offense. We can take the party to the courts, but it will take number of years. Is it on demand then? No, not unconditional, on demand.
Okay.
Can you understand that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, madam.
There are so many wrong practices, I believe. Huh? Our bond should be on demand, unconditional. You have to have that in your mind. Anything else? Anything else you would like to ask? Right? Since there are no questions, I have an important thing to tell you. What is this semester of yours? First semester in your masters?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. How many semesters do you have to complete the PG dip? To get the PG diploma, how many semesters? Do you have any idea, anybody, how many semesters to complete the PG dip? Postgraduate diploma?
3 semesters.
3 semesters, yes. You have to complete 3 semesters to get the PG dip. Then after that, what is going to happen? You are supposed to do a research, right? Most of the MSc candidates are having problems with this research component. So what I want to tell you is, please don't stop at PG dip. Huh? After paying all the money, why do you stop at PG dip? So you can easily write MSc in construction project management as a post-nominal, if you complete the research project also. But only worries people who are working in the industry. You all are working in the industry. So you feel very lazy to conduct the research. I have seen some of students from my own department who got first classes in their bachelor's degree were not performing the research. But please don't do so. Do your research very well. Try to talk to your supervisor, send emails and catch your supervisor and do the research. In my group, it's the other way around. I try to catch my students to do the research. Some of them do not answer their phones even, right? It's not the way. You should push the supervisor and let him or her to supervise you and get the MSc. Please be determined about that very important point, which I would like to highlight. All of you are working and you will lose your interest. Why? Research is a self-study. Supervisor just guide you. In a taught module, supervisor's contribution is 65 to 70%. But in the research, supervisor's contribution is maximum 20 to 25%. Other 75 to 80% of work is yours. Right? So now from first semester onwards, please be determined. I will do the research as well. Think about a good topic when you proceed with this. Find a good topic in your whatever in the office. Then get the consent from the supervisor and do it. Try to finish it within the time. Next common problem is Student do whatever research within the given period of time. Later on, when the submission date, 3 months before the submission date, they come and tell me, Ane, I want to do the research. You cannot do a research within 3 months. It's impossible. Then supervisor is in trouble. Why? Candidate is coming and telling me, I want to do the research, only 3 months more. What can we do? Supervisor cannot give you a meeting every week. It will be every other week he or she is giving meetings. Within 3 months, you cannot do a research. So plan your work. Don't wait till you come to the maximum duration. You will be in trouble even though you start your research during the final 6 months even. There may be sicknesses, some heavy workload in your office. You may not be able to do. Therefore, plan your research. My kind request is do it from the beginning. There may be ups and downs. There may be time periods where you may not do the research. But if you have enough time, if you have started at the beginning, you may finish it. Don't try to waste 2 years, 3 years, 4 years to do the whatever to the MSc. Do it within the minimum period. So be enthusiastic. Find a good topic and do. My request is there are nearly 60 students in the group. Don't end up with PGs. Huh? MSc is your final target. And nowadays, people say that IO, construction industry and all the industries are very bad. So we are disappointed and negative minded. This is the best time to study. Remember that. When there is a recession in the country, you must study and acquire, gather, collect qualifications. When country is going up, be ready, be armed with those qualifications. That should be the policy. So everybody is whatever negative minded, all bad things happen. Don't worry. My policy is if I die tomorrow, even I must work till tomorrow morning. That's the life. Everything uncertain. Not during the whatever economic crisis, even though life is uncertain. So you have to work till you are unable to work. So please be determined. Now even try to see the previous research and find a good topic and do your research with. It's very important. Try to catch your supervisor always. Call him or send an email and do the thesis and get the MSc. So your final target is MSc in project management, but not PG dip in project management. Please be concerned about that. Anything you would like to ask about research project? Anything before we wind up?
Madam, can we start now?
Research project, you cannot start. But please talk to previous whatever friends, senior batch friends and collect information and read about that and be aware. There is a period when you finish your taught modules only you can start. But you can find a topic and search about the topic and be ready.
Thank you, madam.
Each supervisor is allocated 4, 5, 6 students. So it's a hard work for us. When you delay, there will be junior batch. 5 students with us. Then there will be 10. If you delay another year, there will be 15 students. Huh? Likewise, now I have 16 students in my hand. Can you imagine? Some from dispute resolution master, some from PG, PM, and altogether 16 students. Okay? Generally, we are supposed to supervise 10. Why? 5 from PM, 5 from dispute resolution, or 4, 4, 8. If you delay the work, supervisor will be in trouble as well. Why? There will be a backlog of students. Right? Anything else you would like to ask? right? Since there are no other questions, same as previous day, I will send this recording informally to Miss Pumali. Pumali will distribute among friends. Huh? Don't quote me and say, Kanchana madam has given, Professor Kanchana has given recording, so others must give. No, this is my choice, my decision to give the recording. It's not the policy of the department, right? Please remember that it's my policy. Very kind request, don't put these recordings in social media. It's only for MSc students who are registered in project management degree, right? So you don't have any right to circulate it among other people, right? So that's a must. And it's a disclaimer as well, right? So why I'm sharing this for you to learn it properly. Yeah, it's my, what I believe is it's my responsibility. But some lecturers believe when they do not give recording, students listen well and do the work well. It's their opinion, okay? Right? This is only for you. Don't circulate it among others, right? Okay, then thank you very much. Okay, see you all. Right? This is the last lecture.